with your palate cleansers. Show me what you got.
Welcome in everybody to a brand new episode of Audionots, your pop culture palate cleanser. I am Eric Oldboy, once again online with the always amazing Mr. Wren. What's going on, my man?
What it do? It's been a minute. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, we've been going every other week for some reason. It just kind of works out that way. You know, we try our hardest to go every week.
Yeah.
But, you know, we don't get paid to do this. So when things come up, we do those things.
Well, the funny thing is, like, since I think we were off air for about 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And within that 2 weeks, I started looking into Patreon.
Yes.
So I remember last time you were talking about how maybe, you know, we should just offer it to the Audionots out there. If they want to donate, they can donate, you know.
Yeah, like
So,
a couple levels maybe between like just donate because you love us versus here's some cool stuff in exchange for your donation.
Yeah, so I haven't done any of this stuff yet. And I was taking a little break just to figure it out. I set up our account, but I haven't really fine-tuned it yet to where I want to launch it. So stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, stay tuned. I think it's awesome. So it won't be like if you're like, oh no, they're gonna make it, so I had to pay to hear them. I don't think that is our intent at all. No, we want to basically offer you more things. So if you just want to say, man, I really like these guys, I understand the work they're putting in, here's a couple bucks, that's cool. But beyond that, if there's any kind of thing, you can always listen for free wherever you listen, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, you know, Podchaser, all these different things. You can still do that. But we might be able to offer some like special videos or different things that come along with being a VIP style member, that kind of thing. So it's nothing that will take away from what you already have. It will only give you more. Just like Kylo Ren says, more. Yeah, more.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna like, you know how people have different tiers, like $20 you get me some Polaroids, you know. Like, I don't think we're gonna go that route to like charge you or charge the viewers or the listeners like big amounts of money. And the more like for $1 you can.
Yeah. For $1 you can get Polaroids of me, because I know that's what everybody wants, right? They want shirtless Polaroids, and I just happen to have a huge stack they've already signed, you know, in blood. So that way, you know, it's cool. It's something different. So that is available. You can just hit me up and I'll give those to you for free.
Nice.
Yeah. What's up? What else has been going on?
Same old, man. Just trying to chuck along with life, trying to build up my beta shop.
Yeah.
Designing still.
Oh,
because we are a design company.
A design firm. We're firm about design.
Just like tofu, my favorite.
You like, okay, so I actually learned a little bit about tofu the other day because I was watching Top Chef Portland. So for everybody out there, we've gone on and on about how we're Oregonians, and I love anything that's Oregonian. We're like legit. Top Chef this season is in Portland, and they had a whole tofu challenge. Do you know where they were at?
No.
I bet you can guess it. They were at the Japanese Gardens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were at the Japanese Gardens, and the challenge was everybody drew knives, and it was basically 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 1, 1v1. And there were 3 groups. There was soft, or I don't even know what they call it, soft tofu, medium tofu, and firm tofu. Yeah. And they were saying that the firm's the hardest one to make good. And I'm like, why does it exist then? Yeah, because they're saying like the soft tofu is perfect for desserts. Medium tofu is the go-to, that when you have tofu out, that's probably what you're having. But the firm tofu, it was just, there's a limited amount of things that you might do with it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of interesting to see them go and compete against each other in these tofu challenges. And some of them did really well, and some of them did terrible, because it was shocking that they're professional chefs, and there were quite a few that never, ever used tofu.
Damn. It's like, we don't offer vegan in our store.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to me, because it does seem like a staple at this point. Like, I'm not a huge tofu guy, but I don't mind it, because it doesn't matter what you cook it with. It tastes like whatever you cooked it with.
Yeah, it's like a chameleon. It just blends into whatever it is.
You know what I learned though from this Top Chef Portland show, because it was the tofu episode, is the oldest tofu manufacturer in the United States is in Portland, Oregon.
No way.
Yeah, way. I was shocked. Because
Wow.
they spent the whole half of the episode visiting this 100-year-old tofu making place, and these guys were showing them how they do it, and they were bringing in the soybeans and doing all their stuff, and it was like super interesting. And so I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because my sister, she has her own YouTube channel. It's pretty popular, by the way.
Yeah, you should. We should like switch, like have her promote us, and we can promote her.
Oh,
she's way more popular than
Yeah.
us. It'd be a win for us.
she has more lots of followers, but she's a really good cook too, and sometimes she makes her homemade tofu, and I've seen the whole process made. It's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work. So more power to her. That's pretty cool. So I mean, what else? You been doing anything else, or that's about it? Because we do have a packed show.
Oh yeah, let's get into the meaty stuff.
Let's get it. Yeah, I think that what happens is when we have these kind of like 2-week intervals, why it's sad for all the fans. They're like, oh man, I didn't get to hear it this week. They get like they get a more full, hefty show. It's packed with flavor. This show is packed with major
tofu flavor.
That tofu flavor, baby. Just like tofu, we soak it all up and spit it back out. So let's start with the healthy stream. So my first stop is over at Disney Plus. I want to talk about The Bad Batch just for a second, only because we've talked off air about how The Bad Batch really doesn't feel like a show that you need to run down and break apart, because it kind of is what it is. It's a good, enjoyable show. We said a million times, you like Clone Wars, all that stuff, Rebels, you're going to like Bad Batch. But I was watching the last episode today because I didn't get to it. Like, it's one of those shows I don't feel like I have to watch right when it comes out.
Yeah.
And so I was watching whatever episode it is, 6, I think. I was watching that today, and it occurred to me what the Bad Batch is. It's the A-Team. They've taken the concept of the A-Team and they've made it into the Star Wars thing, because the A-Team, what was the A-Team? They were former mercenaries that help solve problems and little challenges every week. And that's all these guys are doing. They definitely have an overarching story, but it's the same thing, especially now that they're working for like that weird monster thing, which is Carla from Cheers. If anybody who's old like me used to watch Cheers, that's Carla's voice from Cheers. I'm like, oh, I know her. So Sid, I don't know her real name, but that actress is married to Danny DeVito, the one that plays the voice of Sid. So
really?
Some fun facts. Yeah.
Wow, man. Facts on facts today.
Facts on facts on facts. So how you feeling about Bad Batch? So you still digging it?
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a solid show. I mean, if you're not in a rush to watch it, and it's no harm in that. Nothing's going to be spoiled for you, because right now nothing's really happening. Like, they haven't really revealed.
You really don't see people giving stuff away.
Yeah, there's nobody like enemy yet. Like sometimes there's like an enemy of the show. This one is kind of like they're just still going around trying to figure shit out, and I'm hoping that
you had a good theory off air today about who you think that. Yeah. Oh man,
because
go ahead. We have like a little bit of a delay right now, because I normally don't talk over you, and then like you're still talking, but you can't hear me talking, and then we're talking over each other. So I'm just gonna shut up for a second and let you talk.
Yeah. So my whole theory behind the whole Darth Maul is, at this time he's kind of like on the rise to power, to where he's so pissed at Palpatine for, there can only be one, what do you call them, a Sith Lords or something like that,
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm back. Can I be your number one? No, Anakin is.
So he's pissed. He's on his own. He's gonna like prove a point.
Yeah. So basically he's like, so my theory is like he's hiring Sid to hire these guys, or hiring the two sisters to do missions for him, and sort of thing. Because at the end they did show a little glimpse of like a piece of cloth or something.
Yeah.
And did you notice at the very end, you could hear Darth Vader's like breathing?
No, really.
Yeah.
Well, they made a strong point. I did notice one, because I just watched this today, that they said, you guys don't even know who you're working for. And they're like, well, that's not what we do. We get paid to do something, we do it, and that's it. We don't care who we're working for. So it'd be kind of interesting, if the Bad Batch is in fact working for Darth Maul or Darth Vader and not even realizing it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking Sid answers to Darth Maul, while the two sisters answer to like somebody good, like Sal, or is it Sal? Saul Guerrero.
Oh yeah, Sal Guerrera.
or like freaking what's her face with the Ahsoka.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I like that theory, and I think we'll see that shake out here probably in the next 2 or 3 episodes, because I can't imagine they'll drag that out to the end. It feels like it's a kind of a middle of the season type arc.
Yeah, because it's a 16 episode, so we're like almost halfway.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like that theory. Also on Disney was the big debut, the one we've been waiting for. I can't tell you how excited I was and how much I enjoyed it, but Loki debuted on Disney Plus this Wednesday, and holy smokes, these things all have setups, and I get it. They have to like build the story, start to character build if there's new characters and those types of things. But I don't think I've ever enjoyed a setup episode as much as I enjoyed this setup. What did you think?
Yeah, I think we could spend the whole episode of this podcast talking about Loki if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to, but I really think that we should like touch on some of the highlights, because there was so much for me that was enjoyable. It looked super cinematic, so they did a really good job. They've continued. That's why they can't make very many episodes, because they must cost up $1 jillion a piece. B, Tom Hiddleston like picked up right where he left off, and he was so good. I really, though, Owen Wilson, holy smokes. I don't know that I've enjoyed a new character as much as I enjoyed Owen Wilson. He's got the craziest nose in Hollywood, and I love every bit of him.
Yeah, he's like so nonchalant. She's like, oh, you're Loki. Whatever, man. I don't really care. Do you know who I am?
That's exactly right. He quietly shows how powerful they are, that he's not even intimidated for a second by what Loki can do. Because Loki keeps ranting and raving about, I'm a god, how dare you? And then it takes the entirety of the episode for him to kind of click that, you know what, where he's at, the godness doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think like once he are we okay to spoil it?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so spoilers. So for the next few minutes, there's going to be spoilers. So if you have not watched Loki, maybe turn down the volume for a few minutes.
Yeah, because like once he grabbed the Tesseract and tried to use it and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And he saw all the other Infinity Stones. He's like, oh shit.
It was amazing. They literally just had a junk drawer full of Infinity Stones. And I like that. It's that actor that they had playing. What was his name? Like Casey or
I don't know.
It was some really generic name. I like how the TVA seems to be ripped out of like a 1950s like television. It's like all old school stuff, kind of taking from the WandaVision.
Yeah.
But the dude that played Casey, or I think that was his name, but that guy is on a show I watched called Tacoma FD, and he plays a funny firefighter. So I really enjoy that particular actor. And so it was funny to see him kind of play like the part, like, where he's talking about fish. And he's like, what's a fish? He didn't even know. He doesn't know these things.
I'm going to kill you. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the whole plot. I thought there was a lot of really good building moments. We see kind of where it's going, and then the big reveal at the end. Because I was watching, like, oh, this is freaking Hannibal Lecter. He's Loki's Hannibal Lecter, and Mobius, or whatever he's called, is the girl in Hannibal Lecter, and I can't remember her name. But he's like, I'll show you some fava beans, that kind of thing. And so then you realize that Hannibal Lecter, they decided they want to have him hunt down the other Hannibal Lecter. He's looking for another version of himself. And this thing is full blown into multiverse.
Yeah, because like at the beginning where the Miss Minute was talking about how there's a timeline war, something. And then it became one, and this is the sacred timeline. And so I think this whole series is gonna be, nah, man, screw the sacred timeline. We're going multiverse, and timeline is going everywhere.
Yeah, and that's probably what we're gonna get with Doctor Strange, because it's roll right into that, and you get that multiverse of madness, because the multiverse has gone crazy. Maybe it does start some sort of war with all these different versions of the same types of people. And it was really interesting how they described it to him. And like, well, he's like, what about when the Avengers did this? Because remember, I was talking to you or somebody, and I was like, how come Loki's in trouble for changing the timeline when these fools went back and changed the timeline? And the TVA was like, yeah, that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, because I think, I hate time travel.
I know.
And it depends on like what kind of time travel you work with or believe in. And this is not like a Back to the Future time travel.
Right.
And so this second timeline, there's just this sacred timeline, right? That's linear.
Yep.
That's controlled by the Infinity Stones, and by Loki taking this Tesseract, he made that. What do you call that? What do you call him? A variable? No.
Yeah, he's a variant.
Variant. Yeah. He became the variant because he took the Tesseract.
It makes you wonder what those other few, because we see a few other folks coming in, what they did that made them variants.
Yeah, because like what they explain is like the only way for you to mess the timeline is if you mess with the Infinity Stones, you know. So I was like, what the hell did they do then?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it's really curious what they did. Did you see the interwebs where it's claiming who one of those other people was? Did you see any of that?
I saw a clip saying was like Agent Carter.
Yeah, so I looked at that, and somebody did enhance, and they brought it in pretty good. And I'll be damned if it doesn't in fact look like Peggy Carter. And so it was not Sharon Carter, definitely Peggy Carter. And so I don't know what's going on there. A lot of people were theorizing that because Cap went back and kind of messed up with the timeline. Maybe she did something else that got her in trouble, and now she's needs to be reset.
Yeah, because like Cap went back in time and he, actually stayed. So it was like, how does that work? Is it because he returned the Tesseract to or the stone back to where it's supposed to be and he just lived there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they did the smartest thing with this is they basically said, sometimes these things happen, but we knew they were going to happen. That was part of the intended timeline. Whether it seems weird to us, the viewer, or not, they can just pick and choose moments and be like, this moment wasn't intended, but this moment was. So for us to sit there and try to say, well, how come that one's different than this one, I think is kind of a moot point, because they've done something really smart by creating this group. They can just tell us, nope, that one was good, this one's not. And they don't have to have really any rhyme or reason, because they're saying that's what these timeline gods chose.
Yeah, if you like dig deep into it, it goes into like the details of how you see time, and time's like we see time as a linear, but in this case, time is like a circle sort of thing where it goes repeats and repeats. Yep. That's why Mobius like, this is how it's gonna happen, how it's always gonna be. It's just
he's like, we don't just see the past, we see the future. And I think that was a really good moment. So that I enjoyed the humor. This was almost felt like a Taika Waititi type Marvel project, where it was both good action and story building, but also had like just really good biting jokes that you would laugh at. But then it had this one really like heartfelt moment where Loki's trying his best to get the hell out of here because he just thinks this whole thing's a bunch of BS. He's like not into it. And then he gets back in there once he realizes it's kind of all for naught. And he's like, decides to watch the remainder of his life film. And if you watch it carefully, you think that he sees the moment where he gets killed by Thanos, that's the end. But technically, the last thing that happened on that reel was him seeing Thor hug him. So the last thing he ever felt in his life was the love of his brother before he died. And so I thought that was really kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
that these little moments like that, rather than just him getting killed by Thanos and that's it. There was a little bit of him left. He got to have that moment with Thor before he passed, and that was it. They said that was it for him. That was at least the end of this timeline version of Loki.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like if you bring him back, you fix it. They snip it in the butt, like how they snip the branches, whatever they call it. And then this Loki that we see never exists.
Yeah, he's doomed to repeat it no matter what he tries. So if we continue to get Loki in the Marvel universe, it will be a different timeline version of Loki. And so it's kind of an interesting theory and a good way for Marvel to be able to continue on with characters and do different things with them.
And I'm just wondering, like, they said that they're gonna, like, which Loki are they gonna fight? Like,
yeah, we don't know. And like, that's really curious that if the Loki that we know is from the main protected timeline, where did this other one come from? And at what point did someone veer off so badly that it started another timeline with another Loki?
Yeah, because if you look at the machines that they were looking at, right, there's like a red line on it.
Yeah.
And like when the branch goes, it's still fixable. You just you nip it and then timeline's good. But it's kind of like if you cross that red line, it's gone too far and you can't nip it. And so I think that Loki is, I feel like, what if this Loki that we were seeing now, the one that we see now got reset. It's gone, right?
Yeah.
But then that Loki got back and did another branch and went beyond that red line and just, oh shit, I know what's happening, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're creating their own villain. We've talked about this in the past, that Marvel's famous for making their heroes create their villains.
Yeah.
Maybe the TVA made this villain, but we're only seeing the first part of it versus it's almost like that weird ass movie where they reversed everything, the inversion, the stuff that they did in that movie.
Tenet?
But yeah, Tenet. It's like Tenet, right? And so we're seeing this part of it, and it could possibly be a very angry Loki, and he's angry at the TVA, and that's why he's showing up and he's killing them all because he's pissed off about them forcing him to constantly die in his brother's arms.
Yeah, it's like, this Loki knows everything about the time, goes back. They think they resetting him, but he's illusion master. Yeah, trickster. Yeah. And so he goes up and lives, and that branch just goes crazy, and this is him getting back at the TVA.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. The concept's super good. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I was so bummed when it was over and they gave us our famous Marvel 10 minutes of credits. And I'm like, I want more show. I was bummed because I read that so many of the big reviewers got the first 2 episodes. I was kind of hoping that us average fans would get the first 2 episodes.
I know. It's like, is it going to be like another like second ending? Like, please,
please. So yeah, as far as setup goes, I give this a must watch. I'm not going to give it a rating yet because it could go sideways, I suppose. I don't think it will, but yeah, this is where WandaVision was kind of unexpected and fun. I honestly was weirded out by the first 2 episodes until I got into the rhythm of the show, and then I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier and Falcon gave us exactly what we wanted, more of that type of like superhero punch 'em ups. And this one just is like, it's that right fit that I was really hoping it would be. It's just super good.
Yeah, it's like both good and at the same time gives you a lot of theories. So you just wonder the whole time for another week.
Yeah. It's the perfect shit for the internet fan that gets to theorize all week long. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what the season's going to be like with people like, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, my wife is watching it. She's a huge fan of Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
And when his clothes got burned off, she's like, oh, yeah.
The guy's actually in a good shape. I was like, holy smokes. Yeah, it was fun seeing. I like how we'd seen in the trailer that he's DB Cooper, and then they gave that to us like right away in the show. And I thought that was really cool that we got to see that he's been kind of messing with the timeline all this time, and they didn't really care about any of those things. That was all part of what was supposed to happen.
Right. That was just a bet.
Yeah. DB Cooper, by the way, jumped out of the plane in Oregon. So remember how awesome we are.
Yeah.
So I was telling my son, I go, do you know who DB Cooper is? He's like, nah. I go, that's a real person that really did this. He robbed a bank, jumped out of a plane, and never got caught. So this is pretty cool. So I like that. It was good.
He went to Asgard. That's why.
And then he went to Asgard.
Yeah.
Over on Netflix, we called it Jupiter's Legacy, canceled, officially shot in the foot, put down for dead. It was a terrible, terrible show. I know a lot of people stood up for it, and I'm sorry for your loss, but goddamn, I hated that show.
Yeah, it has so much potential, man.
It had potential, but the execution was just really bad. And so I guess for those who really liked it, the one little moment you could take from it is they're continuing on in the Millar world, or whatever they're calling it, with something called Super Crooks, which apparently is just the villains that are still in the same world as Jupiter's Legacy. But if it has the same production value, it's going to be garbage.
They need to start from scratch, make that Hispanic Zac Efron the main guy, and then go from there.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot to say about the fact that Jupiter's Legacy sucked, and I'm not going to miss it.
Yeah.
Moving on. One show that I am actually super pumped over, though, that debuted, and I binged it. Well, I did what we would call a light binge. We watched over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I did too.
Yeah. So Sweet Tooth, we talked about Sweet Tooth and how we're kind of looking forward to it, and really didn't know what to expect, having never read the graphic novel. And I'm here to tell you that it's very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. It's kind of funny, though. The one thing that I did think about when I was watching it, it's kind of funny how it's getting huge reviews. It's like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody seems to love it, and they've already renewed it for a second season. That it's not too soon to have a lot of very pandemic-y type viral things going on where Utopia was. And I feel so bummed still for Utopia because of that.
I know. In this show, they were wearing masks and everything. It's like, this is exactly what's happening right now.
Exactly. And it works though. I mean, like I liked in Utopia and I like it in this. I really liked the show. I liked the acting. I was surprised at how good the actors were. I thought they all did a really good job. The special effects were kind of iffy. They, they're you could tell that it's a first season, not a lot of money. So hopefully, because it looks like second season, we're getting a lot more animal kids. I'm hoping their budget goes up. But for me, season 1 of Jupiter's Legacy, I'd give it a solid 8.5, 9. That's how much I enjoyed it.
You're crazy, dude. Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, did I say Jupiter's Legacy? So one of those things. You know what that was? You ever watch the news movie with Will Ferrell where he just reads everything that goes in front of him? Anchorman. Yeah. I literally, because Jupiter's Legacy is written right above Sweet Tooth, so I just said what I read. So no, Sweet Tooth, I give it 8.5. What about you?
Yeah. Me 10 out of 10, man. I love
10
that
out
show.
of 10.
Yeah,
wow,
it's great. I love the cinematics.
Yes,
like,
so good.
Scenes of like them walking. I'm like, man, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, they did a really good job with aerial shots to establish the different places from the woods to the towns. I really liked a lot of that too. And there was little moments that were just really good. Like they were so afraid of this virus. The one thing I like is they gave everybody like the twitchy pinky, like I couldn't even do it, but they all had like the twitchy pinky. And that's how you knew that they had the sick, as they called it.
Yeah.
And they would saran wrap these poor saps to their chairs and just burn them up in their house. I just liked how they all stood outside, like, and saying like the New Year's Eve anthem. I'm like, what the hell's happening? It's so weird.
Yeah, I think for me, my favorite part is like they found a tone in this show, right? To where it gets that crazy, but yet it's still cute too.
Yeah.
And it works,
Yeah, and that's super rare. I think that's a good point because it has like it could go way too cute, but it doesn't. It like gets right there and then it comes back in. It could go way too dark, but it doesn't. And it kind of finds this happy medium that I can't honestly think of another show that had that much cuteness and that much darkness.
Yeah,
and it worked.
Yeah, and then when it gets to the killing,
Yeah.
Football
so
guy's like the big man's like, hoo, hoo, hoo.
And I love how like they naturally gave us these comic booky type names like Sweet Tooth and Big Man, Bear, and like because of how they developed it for us, we didn't question even like, oh, this guy's called Big Man. That's stupid, but it made sense. Why is the kid called Sweet Tooth? Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
and so I like that.
Yeah, and that, like I say, at the very end, but you see all the other like hybrids. Yeah. The production, it looked like they're just wearing costumes. Hilarious.
Well, I kind of thought too that Bobby the Gopher kid, I honestly thought that it was a combination of CG, but I think that they had a straight up puppet once in a while that they're just popping around.
Yeah, I thought he was like robot or something, like controlling.
Yeah, it was definitely a mix of like puppeteering and then CG because they tried to use some practical effects because I think that they honestly didn't get a ton of money to build this show because Netflix, they're like, let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And so Jupiter's Legacy slipped off, and this one's like, okay, we got something. But this is the best fantasy show I've seen on Netflix since Stranger Things season 1. It's that good.
Yeah, it's like I said, I gave it a 10 out of 10. It has everything you ask for, and like.
Yeah, so if you've been on the fence about it, you thought it was too cutesy looking, because the only people I've even seen that have kind of like complained about it are the hardcore fans that have read the book, and they're like, oh, it's not as dark as the book. But for the rest of us, because the majority of the audience has not read that graphic novel, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to enjoy it for what it is, and it's just really well done.
Yeah, it's still intriguing because you're still asking the question like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, you don't know what the overall mystery is. They take the right amount of time to really get you invested in the characters. Like I'm invested in everybody. Like I want to see what they're all doing. I even got invested with the weird like janitorial train guy that ends up like giving his life to save them.
Oh yeah, other big man.
Yeah. I'm like, I love it. I love this character. I love everybody. So they did a really good job with casting, and I give kudos to Iron Man and his wife for really pulling together a good production with whatever money they may have had for it.
Yeah, shout out to Will Forte, man. did an amazing job in this show.
And we talked about that too. Will Forte is good in small doses, and they put just the right amount of Will Forte on it. It's like if you shake too much salt on your meal, it's a little too salty. And you're like, oh, I don't know. But if you just do the right amount, it's like, yeah, that's a delicious. And this was a delicious show, just the right amount of Will.
I dig it.
I dug it too. Because I have so many tasty trailers. I'm throwing a few different things like that into our little TV streaming here, because Kevin Smith, we talked about this in the past, that Kevin Smith has developed a brand new He-Man cartoon for Netflix, and they released the trailer. And so I watched the trailer, and I'm so excited for this. I don't know if you are, because we talked about this last time. Thundercats was more your genre. He-Man was more mine. I admitted that I had the He-Man toothbrush and all that kind of stuff, but I love the way this looks. I like that they didn't go too silly, at least not that we saw, that it's basically a redo of the original with better voice acting, better animation. I'm pumped.
Yeah. I need a hero.
I know. I love it. People who were talking on the interwebs. They're like, "Oh man, this is the gayest He-Man ever." And I'm like, that's kind of what He-Man was, right? He was always kind of like, he ran around with no shirt on for no reason. I mean, there's a bunch of just jacked dudes, and it's like, "I need a hero." And you're like, the song was over the top. It felt so perfect. Everything about it worked. I enjoyed it. Skeletor is Mark Hamill. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's good voice casting.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for people to cancel. Like, why is he called He-Man? Why can't he be called?
Well, that's why they have She-Ra. You got He-Man and She-Ra, and they already redid She-Ra. So hopefully nobody cancels it. But I wrote down here that Smith is cast. Mark Hamill is Skeletor, like we mentioned just a second ago. Lena Headey, who we remember from Game of Thrones, she's been cast as Evelyn. Chris Wood is He-Man. Sarah Michelle Gellar is Tila. Liam Cunningham is Man-at-Arms. And Stephen Root is Cringer. And they're going to give us the first 5 episodes on July 23rd.
Next month. It's pretty soon.
Yeah, that's what I was excited that we got it. And we're like, oh, shoot, man, that's just next month. Because when we talked about it last time, it sounded like it was starting to be developed. The fact that they've already made them, I'm like, I'm totally ready for it.
Yeah, I think you got lucky to have Kevin Smith to be the head of it, because he's probably a huge fan and he's keeping it nostalgic for your audience.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. He's the right age. He's clearly a fan, and anybody who watches a lot of Kevin Smith stuff knows he treats the things he likes with the utmost respect. Yeah, and so he's not going to go in there and ruin it. I don't think so. I'm ready for it.
I'm gonna reimagine it to my way.
Yeah, exactly. Over on Hulu, they gave us a teaser of my favorite TV show. It's actually an FX show, but they call it FX on Hulu now. So FX on Hulu and just FX probably on your cable and satellite. They gave us the teaser of Dave. Dave was one of my favorite sitcoms of 2020. I loved it. I'll probably rewatch it. The teaser was really silly and over the top. Didn't really show you any of the show. It was almost like one of his videos, Little Dicky's weird ass music videos. But it just geeked me out to know that June 16th. I mean, that is not far from now. I mean, that's 6 days. I'm ready for it. Did you watch the Dave teaser?
I did. My favorite part was when he was showing his mom and dad, look, she's half Jewish. What's her other half? And it was freaking Doja Cat. I'm like, oh, let's go.
I love it. And then he was walking around with like a sloth for some reason. I didn't understand half of what the hell was happening. He gets hit by like a car, and then he's like flying in the air. I mean, there's a lot going on in that teaser. Yeah. And I don't know how if any of it actually relates to the show itself, but it just reminded me how good of a job he did from being kind of a jokey, silly rapper to moving into acting. It worked perfect.
You know what's funny? We were watching my favorite show of all time, Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
You know how Jeff was in this season in the XL?
Yes. Yeah.
I was telling my wife, you know who Jeff looks like? He looks just like Little Dicky.
He does look like a Little Dicky. Good eye. Yeah, you're right.
So I showed her a picture of Little Dicky. It's oh shit, it is. That's Jeff. Yeah.
I'm betting though, Jeff, when he's on Naked and Afraid, doesn't want to be called Little Dicky. That would be so hard. Like I've always thought about that. I'm like, you think that all these guys are just like packing big old units? Because I would think that if you were like, I don't know, a less than average kind of guy, you wouldn't want to be on naked and afraid because you're next to some other dude and maybe he's like you just rocking the pickaxe and he's gonna make you look like, you know, little kitty hammer boy.
You know, it's outside in the wild, naked.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's so cold. I got nutri itch. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give a review on a show that I finally finished. We talked about it a few times on Hulu. I finally finished MODOK. Have you ever started it? Because we bring up every episode.
I keep forgetting, dude.
Every episode you say, no, you haven't seen it. Okay, so I finished MODOK. I watched it from start to finish all the way through. And I can say that it's a pretty decent show. It's not a game changer by any means. It's a fun little diversion in the Marvel universe. I don't think they consider it MCU type stuff. It's probably more on the line of like Sony stuff. But I did like it. It was funny. It had actually kind of a cute, heartfelt ending that gave me a song I never heard because nothing makes me happier. Because as much as I like podcasts, I like music even more. And I heard this song on there sound like it was ripped from the 80s. I'm like, what is this? And so I like immediately went out and found it. And so the final episode of MODOK had this great 80s sounding song that's now part of my rotation on my playlist that I just dug.
Nice. Actual song? Not like made for the show?
No, like an actual song. It was interesting too because it was made. I wonder if I could pull it up real quick while I'm talking about it. But it's made by like a DJ. So there's this DJ and he does a lot of music. In fact, most of the music on his playlist is very like all of a sudden I sound like Cartman. But this song for some reason he got a singer on there and he like I'm gonna make this sound like the 80s and it's so fantastic. So I'm trying to buy some time because I'm almost there where I can click on it.
Who's DJ? What DJ is this?
I don't remember. It is fudge. It's not playing in order. I was so close to having this just ready to go and tell you exactly. And
this could be your hot tater.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the hot taters. This could be my hot tater. So my hot tater is by the DJ Starcadian, which is a freaking cool name, by the way.
Oh, never heard of him.
Yeah, so props to Starcadian. But this song is called New Sedona. But Sedona is spelled with a C. So like CY, not like the Sedona in Arizona. But I'm telling you, man, New Sedona by Starcadian is fantastic. Here, I think that it's okay if I do this just a little bit. Here it was. Let's see how it works.
If we get demonetized.
We won't get demonetized. I promise. I've been listening to like mad podcasts lately, and they play like so much stuff. It's crazy.
Well, you can't demonetize someone when they are never making any money, right?
You hear it?
No. Turn it up.
Let's see. Volume away.
Sounds like The Weeknd.
Yeah, that's right.
This is in MODOK?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a motion track. No, what do you call that?
Motion, like a soundtrack to like a motion picture.
Yeah.
So like it was so good. The scene, it was perfect too. Like every once in a while, these like sitcom-y type shows want to have like more like heartfelt moments. And like I mentioned before, part of the overarching plot of MODOK is him trying to make up with his recently divorced wife and kind of hang out with his family more. And they're having almost a moment of reconnectivity in the last where they're at like literally a high school dance and they're dancing together and this song comes up and I hear it in the background. I quit paying attention to everything that's happening on the show. I'm like, I have to listen to this song all the time. This is the greatest thing ever. And I've been having that track on repeat for quite a while.
Nice. I'll have to look it up after the show.
Yeah, it's pretty great, especially if you like 80s music like I do, especially 80s pop. Let me be specific. Over on HBO Max, I watched the Friends reunion. Did you watch the Friends reunion by any chance?
No, I never did. And man, there's too many shows for me to watch. I know.
Time. So much going on. I felt like I had to see it though.
Yeah.
It was good. What was kind of interesting is, man, those Friends look haggard. They do not look so well. I thought that Lisa Kudrow looked pretty decent for her age. I thought she looked like she was untouched and normal. I thought Joey or Matt LeBlanc gained a lot of weight. He got all fat, which was surprising, but he still looked totally normal. And he like was clearly the most likable person in real life. I dug that. And then I thought that David Schwimmer, Ross, didn't look so bad. He just looked older and kind of droopier. His cheeks got all weird and droopy, but otherwise he looked pretty much the same. But the show is 2 hours long. If you're a Friends fanatic like my family is, like my family is like next level, would kill you in like Friends trivia fanatics. It's a good watch. There's a lot of filler though. I felt like they went out of their way because there's been a lot of lately. Friends has been off the air for like 15 years, but they get a lot of flack now about how white it was and that they didn't have like any kind of like, people of color on the show until like season 8 or 9. And so that's a fair critique, I think, but it also is a product of its time. But they went out of their way to kind of make sure everybody knows, no, everybody likes Friends. And so they had all these like break moments where they would just interview somebody about how Friends changed their lives in like a very dramatic fashion. Like, I was depressed and I was going to jump off a bridge, but then I started watching Friends and I was okay. But it's like people from Africa, people from Pakistan, people from, all over the world. So they went out of their way to make sure people knew that everybody likes Friends. And that was kind of a little like forced to me, but otherwise I did enjoy it. So if you're a Friends fanatic, you'll like it.
Yeah, I was telling you off air, they should have got like BTS to be on the show too, because
that would have been huge.
Yeah, everybody knows BTS, right? The Korean K-pop boy band.
I'm not even a K-pop guy, and I know BTS.
Yeah, and the leader, Rap Monster.
Yeah,
he's the one that speaks the most English in the group.
Yeah,
and he say he learned English by watching Friends.
And there were people like that on the show that said similar things. So that's really cool. Small spoiler. If you haven't seen it, they do have some pretty good guest stars. They have Lady Gaga on there to sing Smelly Cat, which was amazing. I forgot how good a singer Lady Gaga is. Yeah. And then they had like a fashion show, which was kind of one of the funnier moments where they had them wear the funniest Friends outfits, like, the holiday aardvark, so they had freaking Justin Bieber roll out wearing a lot of these things. I thought that was kind of funny. And it was hosted by James Corden. So he was doing his thing.
Did they have a turkey head come out?
No, they didn't do the turkey head. That would have been missed opportunity for sure.
What about like one that has a bunch of clothes? Remember Joey was wearing?
Yes, they did do that. Oh shit. Yeah, in fact, what was funny is Joey was part of the cast, and all of a sudden, because they were sitting around the original fountain, like a couch, interviewing them, and they were doing the fashion show in front of them, and we didn't notice as an audience that Matt LeBlanc had got up, and he came out dressed as some of the things too. But I'm trying to remember, they had someone wearing all the clothes, and it was like I can't remember. I think it was another singer or actress. Oh, you know who it was? It was that girl with the big fat eyebrows from we always talk about.
Oh, Cara Davenport?
Yes, her. Yeah, it was her. So she had all the outfits on because she was one of the models too. And she's like, could I be wearing any more clothes?
Turns out Joey's not fat. He just was wearing clothes. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, Joey, like the actor Matt LeBlanc, is the only one of the group that you would actually want to hang out with. Like when you watch it, you think this guy is so comfortable in his own skin and so genuine that he just seems like a good dude. Whereas poor Matthew Perry, that guy seems so burnt, so sad. It seemed like he was on drugs. They claimed afterwards that he'd just been to the dentist. I don't know about any of that, but even his stories were really sad. Like everybody else kind of like reminiscing, having a good time. And he talked about how he couldn't handle it if he didn't get the laughs. And if someone else was getting a laugh, he'd even interrupt their scene so he could get a laugh, even if it didn't end up in the show. And so that was really important to him. And it was kind of sad seeing what's happened to Matthew Perry. And then the girls, other than Lisa Kudrow, all look like melted wax figurines. I mean, they look terrible, especially Courtney Cox.
Yeah, she's the worst. She's been like that since she got done with Friends. Remember, like Cougar Town? We're like, oh, what's going on,
as Cougar Town progressed, it just got worse and worse. You're like, damn, lady. Like, I wish I could tell these women that, and it's unfortunate that they live in a society where they feel like they have to look young forever. It's like, you don't look real. You don't look like a human being anymore. Everybody knows it. Lisa Kudrow looks way better because she didn't have all the work done. She looks her age, and that's okay.
Yeah, because I talk to my wife about this stuff like this all the time. Like, I asked her, who are you doing this for? And she's like, I'm doing it for you. I'm like, no, you're not. I don't care if you're doing this. So I like you, the way you are, the natural looking way you are. And like,
yeah,
you're honestly doing this for the other people, like other ladies to acknowledge that, like for me, I like
that's,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, you're right on. It's for the other ladies, right? And so they want to, it's not that they want to attract the other ladies. They want everybody to think that they're still on top of it and they're doing well and all these things. And I get it. That happens to all of us to some degree, but
yeah,
it's crazy. My other review, my last thing in the healthy stream is I watched that movie. Speaking of women who've had way too much plastic surgery, Angelina Jolie's "Those Who Wish Me Dead." It's about Angelina Jolie is a forest firefighter that she has something go awry. We learn early in the movie that she's trying to put out a fire, reads the winds incorrectly, and a bunch of people get burnt up, including a couple of little kids, which like just traumatizes her. And so the whole movie is her trying to get over it. Why there's also this bizarre like plot happening where someone's trying to murder somebody else and she has to rescue this other kid, and it comes up like a John Wick type movie. And just the movie is ridiculous and really really bad. So I personally did not like Those Who Wish Me Dead. Out of 10, I would give it like a 2 or a 3.
Wow, that's so low.
Yeah, I did not like it. And I saw a lot of people on the Twitters love it. So that might just be my opinion.
Well, like you, I watched another HBO movie too.
Yeah, what was that?
The Conjuring Part 3.
Oh, you did. And I was asking about that off air because I liked Conjuring Part 1, but I never seen Part 2. I thought the trailer looked interesting, but let's hear your opinion of 3.
Part 1 was the best. It's probably by far the scariest movie.
Good movie. Part 1.
Yeah, I think for me, Conjuring is probably the scariest American movie I've seen.
Okay, nice.
Part 2 was okay. It's a good movie. Part 3 was terrible. Like, I think the production value was kind of weird. They had this like weird filter that was going on, and I think because of the pandemic, they couldn't do things normally.
It affected the movie.
Yeah, because for me, when you do like horror movies, especially this type of movie, you need to stick to just not as graphic as, like, for example, the one scene looked like it was a scene from 300.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, like slow motion. Like, whoa, boo, boo, boo. Like, what's happening? What's going on?
That's weird. And that's not really the style that they're normally done in.
Yeah, I think the main reason I didn't like this one is because it was about witchcraft. So it was kind of dumb.
Yeah, kind of boring. So what would you rate The Conjuring Part 3?
Like 3. I give it 3 nuts.
3?
Yeah.
3 nuts. So there you go. I mean, I think both of us have the same theory. We're like, well, these movies are supposed to be in the theater and I'm already paying for HBO, so I'm going to watch it. And then you're like, oh, I see why they have this deal out now, because they're kind of burning off a lot of crap movies that would not have done well in the theater.
Yeah, now you know why HBO doesn't charge you $30 like Disney Plus. They know.
You also saw Quiet Place too. We want to give a quick review on that.
Did I talk about that last time, or was that I just told you off air?
I don't think so. I think you said you were. I'm pretty sure because I listened to the episode again just before we got on, and we off air we talked about it. On the episode, he said, "Oh, I'm so excited! I'm going to the movie theaters." And I'm like, next to the episode, you're gonna have to tell us about The Quiet Place too. So let's hear it.
Yeah, I was glad. I mean, I think Quiet Place movies are meant for the theater, and I'm glad I saw it in theater.
Yeah.
Overall, the movie was really good. A lot of good acting, everything. Cinematography is good.
Better or worse than the first one?
Monsters were good. Better or worse? It's the same.
Same.
Because part 1 happened, part 2, same thing happened. Like, it's kind of like
there's no progression with our characters.
Yeah, because in part 1, you kind of like you see what's going on, and then part 2, same thing happened, just a different location. Like you figure,
is there better special effects maybe in part 2? Like I heard from some other people that they felt like it was more actiony than maybe in part 1.
Yeah, because in part 2, they basically fight the monster more.
Yeah.
And I like, for me, the movie was good. It was really good because if you think about like the way they told the story, like part 1 is about the parents protecting the kids, and now part 2 is more like the kids are protecting the parents because they're stuff happened. Yeah. But overall the movie is really good. I just didn't like the plot, how it didn't progress
It didn't move anything forward.
Yeah, because in part 1, and they figure something out to like fight against the aliens, whatever.
Yeah,
the monsters. At the end, part 2, like, so what are you gonna do with this? Are you gonna go save the world? Nothing happened. We're gonna move.
yeah. It's kind of a bummer when a story like that doesn't move its characters forward.
Yeah, it's kind of like, are you trying to make this into a series or something? Because like for me, like, don't get me wrong, the movie is really good. It's just I needed more out of the story to want it more. At the end, it kind of just ended, and like one of those ending where it's kind of like, this is for you to imagine what's happening next. Because the ending was kind of like, all right, now there's hope. Done.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So would you recommend that people see this in the theater, or is it okay to wait and see it at home? Because I know like a lot of people say the Quiet Place movies, if you're going to watch them at home, you almost have to throw on some headphones and watch it that way versus in just a living room where people walk around doing stuff.
Yeah, I recommend the theater because you get the whole like surround sound thing. Because one of the characters in that movie, she's deaf, and so some of the scenes goes into her view, and then everything just like quiet. You can't hear anything, but you can see all the shit that's happening. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So what's your score?
For me, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's a good movie. It's like I said, it didn't give me enough, and it felt like half an episode.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Very cool. Let's take a quick break. And on the flip side of the break, we're going to get to our tasty trailers and dip our toes in the news jacuzzi. So we'll see you guys on the flip side. Need affordable graphic design? VisualanteDesign.com should be your first stop. High quality work at low prices. Perfect for every need from corporate to personal. Visit VisualanteDesign.com now and request your free quote. And for a limited time, mention Audionots for 10% off your first project. And we're back. I think it's time for some tasty trailers. So my first tasty trailer is Infinite with our homie Mark Wahlberg. What's interesting about Infinite is I didn't even realize it when I watched the trailer the first time, but this is a Paramount Plus original. I think it's going to be in the movie theaters too, because it's kind of like everybody's weird go-to. But you can watch this right now, right meow. You can watch Infinite with Mark on Paramount Plus. And guess what? Guess who has a 30-day trial going right now on Paramount Plus? This guy.
Oh, boy.
We've been watching All Stars, The Challenge, which is terrible, by the way, because they just brought out all these old farts. I swear to you, a little side note. Also, if you like The Challenge MTV shows, they bring back all these fools from like seasons 1 and 2, and you realize how old they've got. There was one contestant, I kid you not, that was 53 years old, and they're still making them like try to climb up shit and jump in cold water, and none of them can do it. It's like so sad. So it is not worth it.
Do you need the money? Yes.
Yeah. They're like, yes, because it's an all or nothing prize at the end of $500,000, and these fools are all trying for it. But it's really pathetic how bad they are. But anyways, done with that side note. What did you think of the trailer for Infinite?
I thought it was kind of like a mix of G.I. Joe and Fast and Furious.
And sometimes, is it me or is Mark becoming a worse actor? Like, I feel like we start off and we're like, oh yeah, Mark's a sucky actor. He's a rapper who's become an actor. Okay, he's not that great. But then in the middle, he had these moments where like, shit, I think Mark actually can act. Like there was some movies like what was that movie with The Rock where there were like a bunch of like jacked weightlifters that like rob somebody.
Pumping iron?
It was pumping something. I don't know, but that movie was really well acted. And he's been
I like
in a few
that movie.
movies. The Departed, good acting. So he's been in like movies where we know for a fact that Mark can act. I almost think this twilight of his career, and I hate to say that about someone who's not that old. I feel like he's in the twilight of his career and he's decided, I want the money. I'm okay with showing up, kicking it out real quick and hitting the bricks because I'm gonna watch this on my free Paramount Plus 30-day trial, which by the way, it's still available to anybody that wants to get it. Just go to their website and I'll probably watch it and be able to talk about it as a review next time. But otherwise, this movie looks stupid.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like they live an infinite life to where they reincarnate, but they remember everything And so they have a whole lifetime to hone their skills, and they got like ninja samurai skills and shit.
It's essentially a video game. It's kind of like that one video game movie. It was actually pretty good.
It's like a Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, Marky, are you being blocked? Let's get your memory back.
It's like, let's keep killing Mark Wahlberg and see if he becomes a better actor every time he comes back.
Yeah.
Because he's somehow getting worse. I don't understand it. My second trailer is The Hitman Wife's Bodyguard. They came out with a second trailer to that. They had the first trailer, and there was another one, which makes it the second one. I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, but what was funny, I was telling you off air, I go, just like The Quiet Place, I never saw the first one, and I cannot find anywhere to stream The Hitman's Bodyguard. I'm gonna start paying for these things to watch them, because I never saw it, because I don't know, it just didn't interest me at the time. But this one, though, I was kind of laughing. I enjoy Salma Hayek. I like Sam Jackson much more than you do. And I love me some, I man crush all over Ryan Reynolds. And so I'm kind of interested in seeing this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you purposely send me Samuel L. Jackson trailers every time.
It's because the fool's in every movie. It's not my fault that he acts a lot. He's in every damn movie made.
Yeah, I think this movie, I feel like all the funny parts was in the trailer.
I would almost guarantee it that you're probably right about that.
Yeah. So I think for me watching the trailer,
not to see it.
No, you can still watch it. For me watching the trailer is like good enough for me. I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. You've seen it. Did you ever see the first one?
No. It's like I hate Samuel L. Jackson so much that Ryan Reynolds would not do it for me. Like,
oh wow,
okay, I love you, Deadpool, but man,
doesn't do it for you. Well, for those who are interested in Hitman's Wife's, it's the worst title ever, by the way. It would have been just better if it was The Hitman's Bodyguard 2, but the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard comes out June 11th, only in theaters.
Oh yeah, and it has Antonio Banderas. What the heck?
That's right. That's blast from a past. You know, Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek were in one of my favorite Robert Rodriguez movies way back in the day called Desperado. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, with the guitar gun or something.
Yeah, I'm so curious if that movie holds up, because I saw that movie. In fact, you know, I may have been dating my wife at the time. That's how old it is. It's a million years old. And we saw it in the drive-in theater. And I used to go to the drive-in at that age to make out. And I think I ignored her the whole time because I was so into this movie. I mean, I love Desperado. So that makes me want to see The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard even more.
Are you sure you weren't just into Salma?
Oh, I'm definitely into Salma Hayek, dude. She's still smoke show. So talk about aging well. Holy God. Thank you very much.
I think I first fell in love with her when I was watching Dusk Till Dawn. Oh my gosh.
That's not even a good movie. That means that you really like her. Yeah, that was one of those movies. That was the weirdest movie ever, by the way. That it had like the plot changed so dramatically from the first half of the movie to the second half of the movie. Because I loved the first half of that movie is a 10. The second half of the movie is like a 3 when they get all weird and vampire-y.
What the fuck?
It's like, what the hell is happening? So weird.
Well,
Fun fact about that movie, I tried to go to the theater and they carded us and they wouldn't let us see it in the theater because they said it was 18 and over. I'm like, oh my God, so stupid.
Yeah, I think when I first saw it, I was into like the Buffy vampire stuff. So for me, I was used to that vampire shit, you know, like the big ugly face with the fangs and shit like that.
Yeah.
And so seeing now, oh shit, vampire, let's go.
Smoking hot naked vampires. Let's do this. I'm down.
Yeah.
My next trailer is brought to us by Channing Tatum, so you know it's going to be good.
Nice.
JK. It's called America the Motion Picture. It is coming out on June 30th on Netflix. This is a Netflix original movie. I actually brought up a tab because I was amazed at the sound actors in this. But what did you think while I get my tabs up of America the Motion Picture?
It was so weird. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Why is Channing Tatum playing George Washington or some shit? But then it's kind of like, why does he have like a black guy with him and an Asian girl and like a Native American guy? What's going on over here? It's so random.
Yeah. So here's the synopsis that they give. America the Motion Picture is a 2021 satirical adult animated science fiction comedy film loosely based on the founding fathers of the United States and the American Revolution. It's a R-rated, untold, historically accurate retelling of George Washington, voiced by Channing Tatum in his fight against the British to be set released on Netflix. It stars Channing Tatum as George Washington.
Yeah.
Jason Matazukis is Sam Adams. So Raffi is Sam Adams. Olivia Munn is Thomas Edison. That's not a typo. Yes, a female version of Thomas Edison. Bobby Monahan is Paul Revere. Judy Greer is Martha Washington. Will Forte, hopefully in small doses, is Abe Lincoln, which I think he's perfect for Abe Lincoln, by the way.
Yeah.
Raul Trujillo is Geronimo. Killer Mike. We know Killer Mike from one of my favorite rap groups. All of a sudden, I can't think of their name. It's what did they call it? It's LP Killer Mike, and they're the ones that say, "Picture this, I'm a dick, put me to your lips."
I don't know.
Anyways, he's a rapper. Simon Pegg as King James and Andy Sandberg as Benedict Arnold. I don't know.
It's fun at the very beginning. They're like, from the producers of Archer, Anchor. Is it Anchor? Anchor, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, and Magic Mike. I was like, what the heck? You see Magic Mike like dancing in.
Yeah. No, I'll watch this because it's on Netflix and I already pay for Netflix.
Yeah. But
it kind of looks dumb. I don't have any hopes of this being any good.
You said it's a movie right now, a series.
It's a movie, yeah. It's a movie. That's why it's called America the Motion Picture. Either they're really fucking with us and it's a series called The Motion Picture. Did you see the trailer for the Mysterious Benedict Society?
Oh yeah, on Disney Plus.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
I'm like, this guy looks so familiar, and it turned out, oh shit, that's Buster.
It's Buster, yeah. It's Tony Hale from Arrested Development. He's the star. I think he actually plays Benedict, whoever that is.
Yeah, for me, it's not really my cup of tea, so I'm just gonna do a hard pass on this.
I think it looks kind of interesting because it's definitely it's a preteen type show. It's a Disney Plus show, obviously.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of interesting. I thought the acting looked fairly decent. It stars a bunch of kids on different, mystery type hunts. And I think that the humor in it makes it something that I'll give a shot to and watch with the family. So I think you've got some kind of young to mid kids, teens that you guys could probably all watch together. It starts on June 25th on Disney Plus.
Yeah, you could report back to us on that.
Yeah, no, I'll come back and tell you how amazing it is. Because I want to tell you that I have been watching that Barbarian show I told everybody about. That's like a Nickelodeon show all by myself. And I still love it. It's the best show ever. I love it. I hoped it would be good, and it's great. The second trailer for the movie Old came out. I don't think we've actually ever talked about Old on this particular podcast, but Old is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. The concept looks interesting, but maybe a little too M. Shyamalan because they visit a beach and people start to age and they can't seem to get the hell off the beach. And that seems to be the overall plot. What do you think? Is Old going to be good or is it going to be bad?
It's gonna be disappointing. I saw that in the theaters because there's trailers, previews, and before the movies now. I forgot that there are trailers.
You forgot how it worked.
Yeah, but it's M. Night, man. He's gonna be like, "Oh, and this is why it's happening." And you're like, "This is it. Spend 2 hours to watch this for this."
They'll have some hard twist at the very end that connects it to like Split and Unbreakable, and you're like, "Oh,
what?
You son of a bitch!"
It's so weird because there's one scene where, how the little girl becomes older. Like, wait, mom, yeah. And there's the other scene where she becomes like pregnant. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? I was like, I know the time moves fast here, but how the hell did you get pregnant? Like,
yeah, it's interesting. It's probably a no-go for me. I'd probably rent this if it showed up on like a discount Redbox or something or one of my streamers. But Old is not my cup of tea either.
Yeah, I think if it's
for those who want to go see it, go ahead.
Yeah, if it was on like HBO Max, I might watch it just to see the ending of it.
Yeah, if it comes out on a streamer, I'm for it. Those who want to see it when it comes out, it does debut only in theaters on July 23rd. Another part 2 trailer that we got, a second trailer, was for the Jungle Cruise. This one gave us a lot more than what we saw originally. So we still have The Rock and Emily Blunt running around acting crazy. It looks like a really silly version of Indiana Jones almost. What did you think about the second trailer for Jungle Cruise?
Like Infinite, I thought Infinite was like G.I. Joe and Fast and Furious. Jungle Cruise was Indiana Jones and Fast and Furious.
Well, I think that Disney thinks they can make any of their dumb rides into a movie and we'll go see it because of the success of Pirates of the Caribbean. And those movies got progressively worse as they kept pushing those things out. This movie looks like crap. This movie looks like the reason people tell us that The Rock is a bad actor. Yeah. And if this is the only thing you saw him in, you'd be like, yeah, he's a shitty actor. I'd rather watch Dave Bautista. So yeah, I am not excited about it, but I know it's going to be a big popcorn movie. I don't doubt that this movie will do really well.
I think so too, but I feel like you said, I don't know, man. There's too much like special effects happening in that movie.
The whole thing looks like a ride. It's just mayhem. Like the boat's constantly crashing through things. It's like you said, Fast and the Furious, like a Fast and the Furious old timey Steamboat Willie boat. It's like jumping over houses. It's like, what the hell is happening?
There's a torpedo coming, and how did they invade it? They jumped over a house to invade it. Like, what the heck's happening?
It looks ridiculous, but I think honestly, your Fast and the Furious people will love this. Those who like that kind of stuff, and probably people are going to take their kids to it and that kind of thing. But not for me. But if you're into it, it debuts July 30th. My last trailer is for a movie I am actually super excited for. Our second Ryan Reynolds trailer in this amazing, tasty trailers today. It's called Free Guy. They gave us a second trailer after a very long hiatus. We saw the first trailer for Free Guy like 7 years ago. It feels like it was like pre-pandemic. And I was excited for this movie to begin with. And I'm just as excited now. It stars Ryan Reynolds. Taika Waititi is an actor. He's not the writer or the director.
He's like the main villain.
And I dig the concept. Yeah, I dig the concept. What do you think? Are you still into Free Guy or are you over it?
Yeah, I dig it too. I saw this in theater again for trailers, so I didn't have to like look it up and watch it.
Right.
This trailer basically gave you more of like the plot and what's going on, and it's like basically everyone's watching a video game character come to life, and they're like, "Oh shit, let's go!"
Yeah, it's like when you play like Grand Theft Auto. What if all the characters in there that you just run around punching the face didn't realize they're in a video game, and one of them all of a sudden says, hey, wait a second, I can change what's happening. It's almost Matrix style where someone comes in and says, no, you don't have to be like this. You can be the hero and not just the one that gets robbed every day in the bank. So Free Guy debuts.
I bet you there's gonna be like a twist to where like Free Guy was always a player and he just forgot or something.
He becomes a playable character without anybody realizing. So is Taika Waititi, he's the bad guy, but he's outside of the video game? Like this, he's like, what the hell's happening in my video game? Is it some sort of bug or virus?
Yeah, it looks like that. He's like the basically the creator of that game. And he wanted to
developer.
He's like, I'm done with this game. And everyone's like, no, don't get rid of it.
Yeah. So that comes out in theaters on August 13th. All right, so now I think it's time to dip our toes in the news jacuzzi. So I've got a few of these stories. You know what? These stories are almost, I'd say 3 of them could be the future is now stories too. So it's kind of like a hybrid news jacuzzi. The future is now. And there's never been a more appropriate story for the news jacuzzi than a story about a dolphin, but not just any dolphin. We're talking about a robot dolphin. What's interesting about this is not even that new of a story. But it came to my attention on the interweebs I saw, and I thought, what the hell? Because they had this robot dolphin that I swear to you looks exactly like a real dolphin. And this story came out in 2020. This thing's been around, and I am just shocked at how realistic this is. Because I've seen a lot of animatronics, but nothing that seemed like this.
Yeah, I saw you tweet it on the Twitter. I'm like, what the crap is this? It looks just like a real one, dude.
Yeah, it says... the story says, darting around the pool as a group of swimmers stand in the shallow end, the dolphin looks so much like a real thing that it jumps through hoops and performs acrobatics at the theme park. This marine creature, though, is a robot and not real at all. When I first saw the dolphin, I thought it could be real, said a woman who swam with the remote controlled creature. Edge Innovations, a U.S. engineering company with an animatronic and special effect division in California, designed the dolphin, which starts at $3 to $5 million. They're designing these and selling them. So, someone rich like Kanye West can just have himself a dolphin out in his pool. They're hoping that this lifelike animatronic can be used in Hollywood movies, could also be used to entertain crowds at theme parks, maybe take away some of the wild dolphins that are being held in captivity, the Sea Worlds of the world, that kind of thing. It says there are currently 3,000 dolphins in captivity. They're being used to generate several billions of dollars just for these dolphin experiences where you can swim with them, that kind of thing. So they're thinking that they can replace these with these dolphins, and in the end it's actually cheaper for the companies to do it because you don't have to constantly feed it and that kind of stuff, and it's better for the dolphins themselves because they're not being used for amusement anymore.
Wow. You know what needs to be next? Tigers.
I feel like furry things are harder to do.
Yeah.
Like you see, like the animatronic dinosaurs have been around for a long time because I've always thought they could just create a real Jurassic Park, but with really good animatronic dinosaurs. Maybe they're gonna get there now that they got this sweet ass dolphin that you literally cannot tell the difference, but it always looks fake to me. And so it's kind of neat that they have got something. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that dolphins look weird as crap anyways, and so like they look kind of fake to begin with. And B, it's underwater. Maybe the fact that it's in water kind of helps hide the roboticness of it.
And C, you never see a dinosaur in real life, so you can't tell.
Yeah, you would think that would make it more real though, because we don't know what dinosaurs actually look like. It looks like whatever you told me it looked like.
It looks fake. Never seen one in real life.
Yeah, it's totally fake. I don't buy it. But yeah. So what's kind of cool though is they're going to keep putting these things out until they can make a big enough business to where they've replaced all the real life dolphins and probably any kind of aquatic creatures. And I think that's going to be really good for the environment. And one time I've petted a dolphin in real life. It was in Vegas, and I think at like Mandalay Bay or one of these places, they have like a dolphin show. And the first thing they tell you is don't touch the dolphin. But they have you sit, I don't know if they still do this now with the pandemic, but you'd sit right on the edge of this dolphin's pool. So you like put your hand in the water and everything. And I was drunk, man. I'm in Vegas. And so, they're very explicit. Don't touch the dolphin. Don't touch the dolphin. Well, the dolphin swam right up to me. The dolphin wanted me to touch it. So I'm like petting the dolphin, and they totally yelled at me, but I'm like, too late. I've already done it. You can't take that away from me. It's mine forever. And so it was totally worth it.
They're like, sir, have you ever seen Paradise PD? This is what happens when you touch dolphins.
You're gonna end up with some weird dolphin human hybrid. I wasn't that drunk, so we're okay. But yeah, that's my dolphin story. My second story has to do with our friend Jeff Bezos.
Lex
Bezos,
Luthor
Bezos.
himself.
Yeah, super rich boy. You know what this crazy ass is gonna do? Homie's going to space. He's gonna take a flight into space. Let me ask you, if you're worth $1 bajillion, would you risk taking a flight to space?
I feel like everybody that wants to go to space is asking for it, and they're all rich. Only rich people go to space.
Yeah. So only the richest people can afford to go to space. And I'm honestly really surprised. And I guess he's been wanting to do this for so long. That's part of the reason why he stepped down as, the CEO of Amazon, because insurance wise, he couldn't do it. So he's been thinking about this for quite a while. I almost wonder if this had to do with a divorce. If his wife is like, please don't do this, because the probability of him, you don't get hurt in this. You're either alive or you're dead. But I bet you the probability is pretty high that he could die.
Yeah, maybe something's wrong with him, like some kind of illness that he can't cure.
That would be the only thing. Yeah, if I was crazy rich but had cancer, yeah, why not? I'm gonna fly to space.
Yeah, make sure you donate to our Patreon, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, please, before you go, just throw a couple bucks our way. Whatever a couple bucks means to you.
Yeah, we don't ask for much.
It says here that Jeff Bezos can have anything. He could circle the globe in a private jet or sail forever in a fleet of mega yachts. He could afford to buy the whole NFL. He could even buy an archipelago. I don't know what that word is, for his family and friends. He could buy over 65,000 Bugattis. Base price at $2.9 million each. Even though only 500 are being built. As the world's richest person, the possibilities are endless. But Bezos appears ready to risk it all for 11-minute ride into space. So they say, how risky is this decision? The answer is isn't what you might expect. Space travel historically is fraught with danger, though the risks are not necessarily as astronomical for Bezos' jaunt to the cosmos, as the space company Blue Origin has spent the better part of the last decade running the suborbital New Shepard rocket he'll be riding on through a series of successful test flights. So, and he gets to live his lifelong dream. It says still what Bezos, his brother Mark Bezos, and the winner of an online auction will be doing, going on the very first crewed flight of the New Shepard, a fully autonomous suborbital rocket and spacecraft system designed to take ticket holders on a brief joyride to space, is not entirely without risk. Here's what his flight will look like. And then it kind of goes into detail of, it's an 11-minute flight that goes 62 miles above Earth, which is wildly considered to be the edge of space. So he's just barely going into space to begin with. He's just taking a really high-ass plane. It says that it hits up to 17,000 miles per hour, which is known as orbital velocity, which sounds cool. That should be a rock band name. And he breaks the speed of sound roughly at 2,300. Oh, the speed of sound is broken at 2,300 miles per hour. So they're way past the speed of sound. And it basically has an image, and it shows that this rocket just does like a McDonald's arch. It goes and comes back down. So you just barely hit, the 60 miles outside of the orbit, and then you come right back.
But still, I think that you hit the point that, like, dude's so rich, he's done everything he can on Earth.
Yeah, maybe he's just bored.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have that kind of success, you're just kind of like, yeah,
what's next? Yeah.
What's next?
What's something new, something exciting?
He's not wrong that it would cement him forever in history. I mean, he's already going to be a historical figure just based on his success and his worth. But if he's that kind of success and that kind of worth, and he exploded in a space rocket, yeah, that we'll be reading about that to our kids, years from now.
Yo, Jeff, I know there's something you haven't done. You just listen to our podcast
and donate some money to our Patreon. Mm-hmm. So maybe, though, this is the reason why he's deciding to leave Earth, so he doesn't get yelled at too much. Amazon is about to share your internet connection. Yours, Mr. Wren. Mine.
Wait. Explain.
Viewers, listeners, I'm going to explain. Amazon is about to share your internet connection with your neighbors, and here's how to turn it off. So there's an eyebrow-raising technology buried inside of millions of Amazon Echoes and Ring security cameras. They have the ability to make do you have one of these items?
I have all those stuff.
I do too. I have many Amazon Echoes. I have a Ring. I also have a Blink, which is basically the indoor ring. So they have the ability to create a new kind of wireless network that Amazon is calling Sidewalk. That shares you a slice of your home internet's connection with your neighbor's devices. So this thing called Sidewalk is basically creating an internet network between you and your closest neighbors, so that supposedly all the devices can work a little bit better. But there's a lot of, because they haven't tested it a ton and they haven't really shared with the outer world how it works, there's a lot of concern with security and how this is going to work. And the worst part about it, it's already been turned on. It got turned on this last Tuesday, so it's on yours, it's on mine. And unless you go in and turn it off, it just automatically happened without, asking you or telling you.
What? No, the good thing about me is I have no neighbors. My neighbors are like flowers.
Yeah, so you're in a good position. I have neighbors to the left and to the right and to the front and to the back of me. So it's possible that mine's being turned on. So if you go on the interwebs, for all those that have any of these Amazon devices, there are many different web pages that go over how to turn it off. So you can turn it off if you don't want to participate. But it is kind of interesting that they didn't bother to ask us if we wanted to participate. They just clicked it on and said, here you go, you're doing it.
Yeah, this is the beginning of 5G. It's happening.
Well, did you hear that we all have 5G built into us now? According to the the QN and freakazoids. They said that our vaccines, they gave us, not only did they make us magnetic. I was so excited when I saw Magneto trending. I thought that it had to do with Loki. It had to do with the stupid vaccine conspiracies that were magnetic. We could stick like spoons. Do it. Are you gonna stick a spoon to your face? That's like a sword.
Was my master sword.
I like how you just randomly have a metal sword. Those of you who don't watch on YouTube, you're missing out.
This is my letter opener.
No, it's cool as hell. Yeah, homie just stuck a sword to his forehead because he's been magnetized. So we've all been magnetized, and we have hot 5G. Maybe we can all be part of Sidewalk now. So that's good, I guess.
Yeah, but then I think that's pretty
my last
good.
Story. Go ahead.
That's a pretty good concept, though. Like it touched on the Nevers, how the Nevers aliens use. It's the same thing. We're gonna implant everybody with 5G to make the internet flow better. I dig it. We're all antennas.
I love it. Yeah, I'd sign up for that. Yeah, you don't have to trick me to be an antenna. I'm ready. Let's go. I want that hot 5G. You mean I'll never lose my phone signal?
Yeah.
I'm down.
Can I use your hotspot?
We should make a t-shirt that says, yeah, I'm a hotspot. My last story is a local story. This is always exciting because we talk about how amazing Oregon is and how we're never afraid to take chances and do weird things. We have legal recreational marijuana. We've recently, this is pretty crazy when you say it out loud, we've recently decriminalized hard drugs. So yeah, they don't go looking for you if you've got cocaine in your pocket anymore. So it's still against the law.
Are you going to report what I think you're going to report?
I'm going to report what you think I'm going to report. And so not only do they decriminalize the hard drugs, they are in the works of decriminalizing prostitution. So we would be the only state that has that happening, because there are parts of Nevada, but not all of Nevada, that has legalized prostitution. But there's really not that much of it. We're saying basically we're not going to legalize it, but we're not going to try to hunt you down and arrest you for it. And the people that are pro legalization or pro decriminalization of prostitution are saying that sex trafficking is a thing that happens, and most of the time when it is happening is because of prostitution has to go so far underground that it creates this kind of seedy world that brings upon sex trafficking. And by decriminalizing it, a lot of that would go away. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, they're saying that the data shows, so I have trust in the data.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'd almost take it the other step and just legalize it, because then you can collect tax money from it. Yeah. And then you could have the government kind of keep an eye on it more. But I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm not going to go visit a prostitute, so I don't know, nothing to worry about. But if you really do want to reduce sex trafficking, you want to reduce like rape, and you want to reduce like STDs and those kind of things, if they're not hiding underground because they're afraid of the authorities, then they're going to be able to operate, in a more normal and clean fashion.
So happy endings are real now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the Wild West here in Oregon. You can do whatever you want here. There seems to be no rules at all.
Freaking Loki, what did you do to our timeline, man?
I know. I feel like it went sideways a few times. It's really crazy when you think about how many things have changed so dramatically in our little woodsy state.
You could come to Oregon, get like a prostitute, do some like some drugs, some shrooms,
do some blow,
and you'll be
fine. Do some blow while you get blowed.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all good in Oregon. We say that should be our new state slogan. Yeah. Come here, we got hard drugs and hookers.
Blow while getting blow.
Yeah, hookers on hookers. So yeah, that's what I got. That's all the stories I have for today. Do you have anything you want to add before we wrap this bad boy up and post it?
I like that. I need to put that story as our like headliner, so it'll get a lot of clicks.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that you've been doing that. It's genius. So yeah.
You think like prostitution is legal.
Legalizing prostitution. Yeah. They're like, I want to hear more about that. Where do I have to go?
Yeah. These fools.
Lots of other countries have red light districts, so it's not that unusual. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, lastly, last time we did our podcast, we were like, go Blazers, but dude, Blazers suck. They lost.
They suck so hard. Got their coach fired.
Yeah, man. So maybe next season. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say it right here, right now on the air. if they trade Damian Lillard, I'm rooting for Damian Lillard, and I'm not going to pay that much attention to the Blazers anymore. I'm not going to root against them. They'll still be my team because they're my local guys, but I will follow Damian Lillard to wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Even if they trade him to some team I absolutely hate. That's how much I like Damian Lillard.
Like if he's a Laker?
Yeah, even if he's a Laker, because I've already had that conversation with my kid. I'm like, yes, even if he's a Laker.
Yeah, because if you do that, it's going to take like 5 years for us to be relevant again.
We're not relevant now, so it wouldn't really shock me if it happens. That's for sure. Cool. With that, we will wrap it up, and we will wish you all a adieu. Have a good one, and we'll see you guys on the flippity flip. Bye.
Show me